Fire, fire, fire. 71 homes while under construction caught on fire. Wonder why? The next article we'll be talking about is how the Bank of Canada held interest rates and why this had zero to no implications on the market. And then the last article we'll be talking about how will homes ever be affordable in Greater Toronto area again. It's a jam-packed episode, so make sure you stay tuned. Now, if you're looking for some help on how to navigate this real estate market, whether you're buying, selling, or investing, or just generally looking to talk about real estate, about what to do about your personal situation, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and a time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zhen, and I run and operate a RE/MAX in the Greater Toronto area on top of making awesome educational real estate content just like this one for you. And if you're enjoying the content we like, make sure we spread the knowledge by smashing the like button and subscribing to the Prime Properties channel, because this helps us get all the information up there so people understand what is happening in the real estate market. And as you know, free content on YouTube, like and subscribe. Now, the first article we have here is 71 housing units damaged or destroyed by wildfire. So last week in the morning, there was footage of fire across a subdivision that's under construction. And, this is a very unfortunate thing because some people, these are their homes and now they're going to be delayed. Now, look, I don't want to kind of put speculation into what's happening, but 71 homes is a lot of homes. These were like $2 million homes. We're looking at like $100 million worth of damages. I'm sure there's some stuff with like insurance and arson and whatnot, but it begs the question, like, why was there a fire? Is it a coincidence? People can't close. And it's going to lead people down to that speculation road, whether it was arson or not. Look, I'm not going to comment on it, but one of the things that I just want to talk about this is it did bring up kind of a memory because I saw something similar to this in 2017 as well. So I pulled up the article here. You can see March 29th, 2017. Fire leaps sky high as homes under construction in Brampton catch fire. Do you know what is a coincidence at that time in March 2017 too as well? That was when the pre-construction people bought. At the peak, prices came down 20% in the York region and Peel region and the Durham region. So this is when we had the Manabe price reduction going on. And there was a fire. Coincidence? I don't know. Seems like it. Kind of. Maybe. Then we got the next article we have here is Bank of Canada holds interest rates steady as its forecast inflation to 3% this year. Look, I didn't want to really rush out to talk about this because this was almost kind of like a slam dunk that they were going to hold. The next announcement will be June 7th, and then the next one will be July 12th. And their expectation right now is that they're still going to keep it at this rate, and inflation is going to come down to 3% like they say over here, and this is going to be welcomed by a lot of Canadians. Look, this one was a slam dunk, and I didn't bother talking about it just because we knew it was going to happen. The next one in June probably, I'm going to guess, is also a pause, but the July one will be interesting because by the time July rolls around, we'll see whether inflation has come down to what they expected to. And from like the base effect, we had the highest inflation in June of last year at like 8.3%. So on a rolling average, is it going to come down to 3%? Meaning it goes up 3% from last year? Maybe. But if it doesn't, then there's a chance that inflation will go up, right? And that's kind of why I think this one, or the one that passed, and then the one in June is probably a nothing burger, and I'm not really commenting on it too much. But in terms of the July one, that'll be interesting to see what the job report and what the economy looks like then. And then we got the last article here, which is, will homes ever be affordable again in the Greater Toronto area? Yeah. My reaction to this is no, because I've always been saying this over and over again. Affordability is different for every person, but for the average person to buy the average home, it's just not possible. Has it been possible since like 2008? Now, can the average person still buy an entry-level condo? Yes. Is that going to get a little bit out of hand at some point? Probably. Maybe like 5-7 years or so. Now, some of the points I kind of highlighted here is basically saying that houses grew 180% over the past decade and incomes grew above 30% in the same period. So that's kind of the problem, right? Because you have house prices going 6x, incomes going at 40%. And this has always been the issue. It's that incomes will never catch it on average. The only people who are able to afford these things, it's not that they have to be super rich, it's that they have to have some career trajectory where they're increasing their income faster than the rate that basically, the average income is increasing. So if you get started now, like I've seen people, they go from like say an entry-level job to, about 6 figures, a couple of them, in 2-3 years, they can save for a minimum down payment fairly quickly. And that's very common in what I've seen. But for the person who's making like $50,000 to $60,000 to try to save for, call it a $600,000 entry-level condo, that's super, super hard now, right? Unless you basically have help from the parents. Now, one of the issues is that the commonly cited solution of building more supply to mitigate long-term price increase isn't going to drop prices in the short term. And I 100% agree with that. Do you know why? Because we're still letting in so many people into the country, right? If you're letting in more people and we're not building fast enough for maybe a 10-year period from before where we're not having this level of immigration, adding this level of immigration is not going to help, right? It's just simple supply and dynamics. So who can afford these homes? It's kind of what I talked about before. Unless you're kind of in that high, income trajectory, you basically need help from mom and dad, which is exactly normal. Now, the interesting thing is there's a Globe and Mail article saying that 9 in 10 parents are helping out their kids financially. So I dug through this, and in terms of how many of them are helping with the down payment, you can see 41% of parents that they provide assistance with down payments to their kids. That's quite a lot of them. You know what the shocker is? My kids could survive on their own, but we have enough to be able to help them out. So as a parent, I would say, can I help them out? Absolutely. Will I help them out? Absolutely as well. Could a lot of boomer parents help out their kids right now? They're say millennial generation, like my age? Absolutely. Because if they bought a home in the 80s, it's more than 5x in price, right? So there are means to it. But the problem is people who don't have rich parents or parents who own real estate for the last 10 years, it's really, really hard. And that hill to climb is much more tough, right? And I think there's going to be a little bit of divide between those who can and cannot buy. But at the moment right now, it's still somewhat feasible, just not feasible to the average person, right? So back to this article over here that talks more about the rental affordability. We have someone here I highlight, I want to outline to you that, a monthly rent that's reasonable is between $1,500 to $1,600. That's what we call affordable. And I agree, right? The first condo I rented was $1,550, and I went into multiples for that. This was when I just graduated out of university. But they're saying that this person's floored because most of these units are basement apartments for that price. Because you can probably real estate get away with maybe sometime outside of the Toronto area for $2,000 for a condo, which is very expensive right now because that's on a minimum wage. That's quite a lot. They're more than 30% of income, which means, from a landlord's perspective, it's very hard to rent to people of minimum wage, right? And this is exactly why buying a home, unless you have parental help or really high income, is very difficult, because if you're already renting for shelter, to save up for the down payment is incredibly difficult. It's not impossible, but it's incredibly difficult. That's a wrap for this week's episode. If you are looking for some help on how to navigate this real estate market, whether it's to buy, sell, or invest, or just kind of curious about what's happening in the market and where I think it's going to go now that we have a little bit more visibility into maybe call it the 90 days, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya! Now that I'm done watching this video, I think you should check out this video. And you know what? Why don't you check out this video too?